Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about the latest in the extended saga now of Abrego Garcia, who was in many ways the sort of first poster child for the abusive, illegal, and overreaching administration conduct where immigration is concerned. Recall that this is back in March when, in a showdown with the courts, authorities sent him to Secot prison in Venezuela, notwithstanding that there was an order saying you couldn't send him there that had been adjudicated from before, like in 2017. And the administration's just dug in deeper and deeper in really a sort of, vindictive and petty ways to say, to try to dirty him up and say, he says he shouldn't be there, but this guy really is a member of a gang, MS-13, and he's never coming back to the States, etc. He did come back to the States. The administration was forced to try to get him back. There was that whole saga where they said, we just can't do it. It's all up to the president of El Salvador. Turned out to be crap. As everyone knows, El Salvador, in fact, even made it clear, we're just like getting some money from the U.S. to house their immigration folks in their very nasty gulag of a prison. They're the customer and they call the shots. Anyway, Abrego Garcia is brought back for basic proceedings about whether he could be deported, but they try to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat by charging him with a crime in Tennessee, in what seems like, again, weak, overreaching. There had been a stop in 2022. The state officers had let him go, and the feds kind of puffed this up to make it seem like an overall conspiracy, and got a cooperator who says he's worked with them. Anyway, as you may remember, we have sort of two things going on at once, both a criminal case that if he loses, he might have to serve time here and then be deported. And what the U.S. at least says is, we're deporting him, but they'd have to do it separately. They tried to do it with no process. Now they're saying we're going to go through process. So we have the criminal and the new deportation things going on at the same time. But every time we've looked at this, it seemed like, the U.S. in particular has a lot of authority to initiate the new deportation, and they have him in their sights, and they're totally focused and petty about it. So it looks like, he's now, in fact, in custody, in immigration custody, and they're saying, he's saying, I can't go back to Venezuela. I can't go to El Salvador. And they're saying, fine, we'll give you your choice. We won't make you go there. We'll send you to Uganda, which is apparently a place of really terrible persecution. Okay, so he's played a gambit, and that's the news from yesterday. He has moved to reopen his 2000. Well, first he tried to say, "Can I have asylum to the U.S.?" and the court said no. You don't have the basis. But now he has moved to reopen his 2019 asylum case. And let's try that again. He wants to say, I want to apply for asylum now in the U.S. It's a gamble, because it's that case that is the sort of linchpin of his having an order now to stick around, but not because it's been fully and finally settled, but because it's provisional. He is having looked hard at the implacability and sort of viciousness of the U.S. whole government, really, to get him deported, has said, I want to take my chances with a judge. So he moves to reopen his asylum claim from 2019. He loses that, but he now has 30 days to appeal. So he is in the posture, is Abrego, where he is hoping to reopen his case. That's not so easy to do. And if he loses that motion, he is pretty much at the mercy. He no longer has even the tissue of, you can't release me because I have this prior order. He is pretty much then at the mercy of the U.S. They could just leapfrog over the criminal case in Tennessee and simply move to deport him. And if they don't do that, they could go through the whole criminal trial too, although I think they won't want to. I think the criminal trial will really look bad for them. And they've done a lot of things in a sort of slapdash way, and they really don't have much of a case. So, that's the kind of roll of the dice. He's now also filed a motion as part of the motion to reopen saying it's shut down. Let's keep going on shutdown. You're supposed to continue to go in habeas during shutdown. And by the way, will you please send me home under conditions of release similar to what you've applied to similarly situated folks? He's right now being held and detained, and he's saying, let's keep going with the criminal case against me. And also he'll have 30 days to apply, but he's hoping to go the criminal route. But in any way, he's also hoping to get out from under their clutches, have some time, I guess, with his family out of detention. And, God knows how it all works with the family situation, including the children, including the one special needs child that he's especially close to. But so he's maneuvering both temporarily to be out pending, with ankle bracelets and the like, but he's also rolling the dice, and he'll now be up on appeal to say, grant me asylum now, U.S. And if they do, that would preempt ICE's certain determination to deport him. And now they're talking about Uganda. By the way, to sort of underscore the viciousness, they said, he had said he wanted to go to Costa Rica, which apparently is a fairly humane place, etc. But they wanted him, in order to do it, to give up, different rights and trial and the like. And they said, if you don't do that, we're sending you to Uganda. And sure enough, that seems to be that kind of that posture. And, you did what? You actually stood on your rights. Sorry, fellow, say hello to Uganda. That's the fight now. There's the fight over the trial and whether it happens, and the fight over his asylum claim and trying to reopen it. I think that's a long shot, but I think he's determined that it beats, being at the mercy of the immigration authorities. And then there is the immigration authorities, and after a shutdown, et cetera, if they put him on a track, that would not take all that long, it seems to me, to forget about the criminal trial and send him off to Uganda. So that's where this whole saga stands. And we will probably, the next thing we'll know is whether or not his motion to amend conditions of release so he can leave the clutches of the U.S. immigration authorities and go home while all this is working out will be granted or not. Quite a saga. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.